Everybody was sort of new in this movie. The actor, the DP, that was his first big movie. And I like people who come with not a preconceived idea, but a lot of idea to try.
At the beginning, I was like, damn, I couldn't do this. I'm so paranoid, scared. Like, I'm gonna go in front of 2, 3, 5 cameras.
We've been doing this for 3 years. And when we came into this, we didn't really feel like it was gonna become what it is now.
That this is my first film and that I've never done one, so it's like...
It's intense. Like, that's like the only word you can use to describe it. It's intense. And then you get on the bus and you have these huge cameras in your face. You have Matt holding the boom and you're just like, holy shit, this is really a movie.
Short term.
Short film. Short film.
Short film.
Short film. Short movie.
Yeah. Theme. Like theme.
Yeah. The story came to me from riding a bus in a sort of a posh district in Paris. And all of a sudden, it was the 5 p.m. and it was the class exit, and the bus was invited by 20 kids, and it was chaos. And then by the time they started to leave the bus one after each other, I heard the conversation becoming different, and it was something that always intrigued me, how we behave in groups and how we behave one-to-one.
I'm from the Bronx, but originally from Mexico. Living around this area is just like you have to fend for yourself.
Growing up here was pretty rough. There was really nothing to do. It was either go to the park or hang out in front of the building, and it was just so whack for me that, you know, I just started doing crazy things, hanging out with the wrong people.
There's a lot of places you shouldn't go by yourself because you don't want to get, you know, handled by a mug or anything like that. But the Bronx has its bright sides. It has a community center, like the Point.
Some of the kids my age that wasn't going to the Point, they were actually outside hanging out with the older people, you know, the drug dealers and stuff like that. So going to the Point, that kept me and my brother out the streets.
The Point is an asset-based community development corporation, and we call that an ABCD. We do extensive after-school programming, extensive summer programming, with the mission of revitalizing this wonderful community of Hunts Point, which we know to be so rich. We're not necessarily in the movie-making business, and I was like, oh, how is this really gonna go? I didn't know, you know, like having Michelle come into Hunts Point and working with our kids, I was like, how is that going to work?
At first, I'll tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie. I didn't know who Michel Gondry was, right? I was like, who is this man? So then, but like, it came by surprise because they were showing a Be Kind Rewind, right? And they were giving out free pizza. So I was like, I want free pizza. So I was hungry.
At first, I couldn't understand a word Michel was saying, but you know, as you get comfortable around him, as you get to know him, like, he's so cool.
At the very beginning, when we sat down and we talked about these things, and we weren't quite sure, we were like, oh, we'll do it only if our students get paid. And you were like, yes. Okay. We'll do it only if, you know, you promise to be sustainable and use us for filming. All of our conditions we laid out had to do with trust and respect.
It was easy for people who were not part of the rehearsal and all the process to dismiss the kids when they think they are not at the level of others.
He basically came in and he told everybody, like, you know what, guys, I'm choosing you guys over professionals.
I had written like 23 pages of storyline with some dialogue, and we have 2 writers, Paul Prosh and Jeff Grimshaw, who came early in the process.
And then we went up to the Point and we interviewed the kids and ran improvisations with them.
Basically, in the beginning, we was talking about our lives.
I play as myself, Lady Chen, but not exactly as myself. I play as a party girl and someone who freaks out about her Sweet 16.
What was the most stressful thing that for organizing the Sweet 16? What made you really stressed out? What about like finding the guests?
In the end, I had to eliminate some certain people because I wasn't like seeing them anymore as friends anymore. So they took the story and they exacerbated to make me freak out more.
It gets me frustrated. I can't do exactly what she does. You get what I'm saying?
I know. Just tone it down a little bit.
So you were like, were you helping her out on all these things? Like,
And she tells me about it and I try to console her. I didn't even know we were making a movie. It just felt like so like close-knit and fun, hanging around, like playing.
Jonathan next to Teresa, Raymond, Michael.
I felt like it was a joke. I ain't gonna lie. They didn't seem all that 100% organized.
They made the screenplay and it was a bit too long and we had disagreements.
Once it was written, the kids would read it over and they would kind of find clunkers in it.
It was pretty good. Just sometimes it was just like, what the fuck? Like, what? I would never say that. Or like, you know, like who would say this?
Gondry wasn't like afraid to say, but we want to improve it. So that, you know, like tell us what's wrong and tell us what's right.
I think it's really cool because I feel like if we were in some other movie or some other commercial, we wouldn't see that. We would just get the script and we would know what's going on.
The workshops were long, so it was like a period, like of 3 years. I'm not even gonna lie, like, yes, I had my doubts, but a small part of me knew that, all right, this is gonna happen.
Balancing the fact that these were real kids coming from a very rough area while also working on a pretty demanding production schedule, I think was the hardest thing. And so these kids are trying to figure out how to come up with $300 a month for rent, or their family's out on the street, and I'm calling them to like make sure they come to this like casting rehearsal, and of course they're not gonna give a shit about that because it's like they have to figure out sort of their basic shelter issues here.
I wanted to drop out the film because I wanted to work, focus on trying to look for work and maintain a life, you know? It was just me and my dad now, and we were struggling. We were struggling, we were trying to pay rent. I didn't expect Partizan to come through and say, hey, you know what? We actually want to help you out. They just don't have no idea how much they helped me in a way, like, you know?
Okay?
Yes.
Rolling? Action!
I mean, I'm honestly surprised. I mean, if you talk to me at certain points, I'm honestly surprised the film happened.
We're in a mobile environment that you can't really be totally in control, and usually one of the things about a film is everyone likes to be in control of at least their department, and what we did is we took a bunch of controlled departments, threw them all onto a very uncontrolled environment, and drove around all day and made a movie.
Forget about what's on the paper. Freestyle on the video. Go and freestyle on the video.
That made me nervous. That I was really nervous about because I've never done acting before in my life. So they making us do improv games, telling us to act like this, act like that. And I just had to think on the spot and think of something how to satisfy these people.
I'm rolling right now. I'm rolling in the picture, man. And then many times during the shooting I wanted to quit this job because I thought it was the hardest thing I had done.
I would always laugh. Like, you know how he's directing? While he's directing, he gets mad, right? When he's directing, because he wants the right shot, and I get it. And I think it's really funny when he gets mad. Is that bad?
I was working, you know, I was a college student working 16-hour days, but these days really get to you, you know what I mean?
Before you even shot, everybody was informed that we were going to be shooting every day, long hours. Sometimes we were going to go over hours.
One of the things that's interesting about this movie is the seamless continuity. It wasn't a movie where you can control traffic with the budget we had. So we had no way to control when the bus would start and stop. It was basically based on the lights. So some scenes we would do the master and the bus was moving, and then we'd have to watch and make sure that the bus was still moving in the close-ups. And it was this constant battle. The system that Michel developed was that basically he broke the script down into 13 parts. And from those parts, we then figured out what would be a good general area for that scene to take place in. So we then identified 13 loops that a bus could go around the whole time. He wanted the earlier parts of the movie, which were more chaotic, to be more chaotic backgrounds. But as the movie goes on, what you notice is that it becomes more and more desolate and isolated, and so characters will feel isolated and have to reveal who they are.
Being on that bus, I've never been on a bus that long in my life, and I lived in New York for 20 years. When we had to shoot, the AC had to be off. So when the AC was off, you know, you have a whole bus full of kids. Like, it just created a lot of heat. But being on that bus hours at a time, driving around in circles, and like after a while, I actually memorized which store was coming, which street was next. You know, we definitely caught the attention because, you know, everybody was like, why does this bus keep driving around? And then they see the cameras on the bus and then like, oh, they're shooting a movie. Meanwhile, they didn't even know that the cast and, you know, everybody on the bus was just like, yo, let's get the hell off this bus. I want to get off this bus.
Ew! I'm so dirty!
You mispronounced my name. It's Big T. Stands for Big Treat. On account of the bitches that fuck with me, then for this big treat. The first time I read it in the script, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, how old is this lady gonna be? Like, I was asking questions like, how old is she gonna be?
My biggest challenge was remembering my lines, because I'm 84 and I don't remember too well anymore.
It was awkward. It was very awkward, to be honest, but it was fun in the end. Like, it was creepy, but real fun.
Well, there is this girl that I really liked called Amy, and she changed and turned emo sort of, and she moved, and she didn't want to come back for the shooting.
I run a radio show called Band Talk, where I interview different band members from all different rock bands.
And I called her, and I heard myself on the radio, and that was maybe the first call ever. And I'm calling for Amanda.
It was like, Amy, we want you to come back here right away to do the movie. And I was like, okay, this is kind of awkward.
And she totally asked me if I could call her another time. She didn't want to deal with me. She totally dissed me in front of her audience.
It was pretty funny, actually.
Yo, what's going on with the trends?
Every single member of my family is in this movie, whether it's on screen or behind. My father is Chen Kong Carrasco, Chen Kong Jr. That's my older brother. There's me, Lady Chen, my twin brother, Con Chen. Jacob Chen was the next one to pop out. Next one is another boy, Chen Li, and the last and final one is Helen Chen. And my mother was included at the end of the film. I like the fact that I introduced my brothers to this project, and it was just a really positive thing to get them into.
So this is the art department right here. Michel asked us to do half a car inside his house, and we did it. Pretty quickly we decided to buy a car and chop it up. Also because Mark and Seth wanted to do it because they said it was going to be fun. So we bought the car, we brought it, the next day we chopped it up. They did it was really wild. We chopped the car, and then we had half a car with wheels that could drive.
But the thing is, as the film evolves and the relationship become more intense and conversation deeper, they had to go more inside to find their emotion or how they would react.
It was actually really hard to play myself. I just found it very hard to play myself because I'm really not that person anymore.
Something in me cares for you, Louis, and I swear it does. But I can't have you in my life at this point. I can't.
I thought Louis was not up for the part. So we switched their role with Brandon. So it was a real couple and they had this breakup during the workshop. They were together in the beginning and they did some fucked up stuff to each other. It was a bad idea to switch their role, but it led to something better because at some point they had an argument that was not part of the shooting, and we went there and we shot it. They switched to their real role and they were commenting on the fact of what they were doing.
I just didn't know how to deal with him being there on an everyday basis and me having to fake be his boyfriend and having the role switched and having him be the victim was just really draining.
I actually like it the way it is, that I'm playing his role, he's playing mine. It gives me a different insight.
I will always remember that moment and this here because it kind of made me stronger in a way.
When I told my mom that I was gonna get flown to Cannes Film Festival in France, it was just like a dream come true.
Oh, we're going to France. First time flying, I'm scared as hell.
So where's the luggage?
This nigga woke me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, bugging out. I'm knocked out with the sheet up covering my eyes. And then he takes this shit like this. Yo, we gotta get up.
I had 6 o'clock on my watch though, so I was looking at my watch, and that's New York time. So I was looking at my watch, I was like, yo, it's 6 o'clock. I said, oh, Joe didn't even pick us up. So I woke this nigga up real quick, right?
Yo, we in the Cannes Festival. We in the Cannes Festival for us. For our doing it big. Look at all these people. All these people. All these people's for us.
But I don't know, it's people that want to watch our movie, I guess, which is crazy.
I'm super psyched, Jordan. I'm super duper psyched. Like, you don't even know.
Say swag.
That's a new thing? Say swag?
Swag.
Swag, yeah.
So, Jonathan, can I get a ride home?
Oh, yeah.
It's just that I have no doorknobs.
Here's your clicker.
Oh no, right here. Yo, this shit's tough. Yo! The door's open from here.
Joe, I'm doing the same thing you're doing, Joe. I'm not missing the moment it is, man.
We. Where we going?
And the eye. We're going to our first screening. Oh, VIP room. Record that VIP room. How do you feel, man?
I feel excited.
How you feel? I feel amazing.
Hey, I want to take a photo with you guys. I love you guys.
Is it really?
Let me record you, my nigga. Cause yo, you're super happy. You're super happy.
Too happy.
Back home, we don't get this. We out here in France where people don't know us and they act like they know us our whole lives. Like,
I just know we go back to the Bronx, we're gonna be regular kids again, but I'm gonna just soak it all in.
I feel with the eyes watering. This shit feels so good. This shit feels very good, my nigga.
What time I woke you up for this?
Yo, you woke me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, man. So I should be knocked out right now.
It's about 800 seats.
There's 800 people about to watch our movie. It's the most amazing feeling I've ever felt in my whole entire life.
Those are the things that you only see on TV, you never thought you would ever do, you know? You're there in front of like hundreds of people talking about your film along with a well-known director, and everybody's looking right at you, and it's your moment. Right there at that moment, you think about all the stuff that's happened that led you up to here at this moment.
When we got into this project, we didn't know we were going to be this close to everybody.
A lot of things have changed. Like before it was just like groups, and now since the bus started, like it's just everybody talks to everybody, and like
I had fun. It was like, you know, even though it was a job, it didn't even feel like a job.
The film was willing to sort of become a part of the community. Our world needs it. We need this critical lens, we need this worldview, we need this perspective out there.
you know, a lot of people tend to judge people based on where they come from. I came from a broke neighborhood, but you know, that's not who I'm defined as. I'm not defined as a broke, you know, individual.
In movies, people thrive on so much privilege that they don't re-question their job. It's just I really think when you give a chance to people, and especially when their life is a little harder, they give 100%.
Where are you guys from?
South Bronx!